Hi, I'm Avram Pilch with Laptop Magazine, and we're here today with the MSI Wind, and we're going to upgrade it from 1 gigabyte to 2 gigabytes of RAM. RAM is very inexpensive these days, so for $15 or $20 you can double your RAM capacity, and it's fairly easy to do, so why not? So you take your Wind, turn it upside down, and first thing that you need to do is remove the battery. So you unlock the battery, remove it, and you'll need a really tiny miniature Phillips head screwdriver and, of course, a DDR2 DIMM that is 1 gigabyte. The first thing that you do after you remove the battery is you're going to want to unscrew all 9 screw holes in the back here. For purposes of simplicity, we've removed the screws already. You'll have to take your time unscrewing them with one of these tiny screwdrivers. The next thing that you need to do, and this is a little bit of a challenge, is you will need to remove the bottom. The entire bottom plastic piece here comes off. And you can start by trying to pry it up, but be very gentle. You'll hear a couple of cracking noises as it dislodges. You don't want to push it too hard and break any of the plastic. Once you've done that, you can see the innards of the computer. It's all naked for you now. And this spot right here is your empty DIMM slot. There is already 1 gig of RAM installed in the system. But obviously that chip is somewhere else. So we're going to take our new DIMM of RAM and we're going to put it face up such that actually we're going to rotate it, and we're going to make sure that this little groove here that you can see in the RAM aligns with the groove here, which is difficult to see because it's under this piece of plastic tape. In our case, and probably in most cases, you'll be putting the sticker side down. Then what you need to do is, as always when you're inserting RAM, be very careful. Make sure that you're grounded and you don't have any static charges going into the components. You may want to actually pull up the plastic a little bit here so that you can angle the DIMM so that the teeth align correctly with the teeth in the slot. Push it in till you hear a snap, and then push it down, and what should happen is these two metal rods should snap into this groove here. Once you've done that, just make sure everything's firm, and it's time to put the backing back on, put the screws back in, and you should have your RAM upgrade. Putting the backing back on is a little bit of a challenge. You want to make sure that all of the ports come properly through the holes. Everything snaps into place, but you don't want to push it too hard because, again, you don't want to break anything. You may have to pull it up and down a couple of times, and it is probably going to feel a little bit loose until you restore all 9 screws to the backing. Once you've restored all 9 screws to the backing, you put the battery back in, and you can boot up and see your additional RAM. So now we've loaded up Windows, and we want to actually verify that our Wind actually has 2 gigs of RAM, and the easiest way to do this when you're in Windows XP or even in Vista is to go to My Computer, right-click Properties, select that, and looky here, it now says 1.99 gigabytes of RAM, which before it said 1. So don't mind the slight math error that it says 1.99 instead of 2. you got your upgrade, and now you're ready to see if this makes much of a difference. But for only a few bucks, it's certainly worth the upgrade.